So now we move on to the email controversy. The FBI has recovered some of Hillary Clinton's emails off of her private server, according to Bloomberg Politics. Bloomberg reports the Bureau has recovered personal and work email that had presumed to be deleted. And Politico reports more previously undisclosed State Department emails, about a dozen related to Benghazi, have surfaced in a federal court filing. According to Politico, most of the documents also appear to have been withheld from the State Department response to the House Select Committee on Benghazi. The State Department spokesman says the department has made every effort to cooperate. And while Clinton has always characterized her participation in turning over these emails from the server to the State Department as routine, officials are characterizing it differently. According to the Washington Post, citing State Department officials, the request was not about general record keeping, but was spurred entirely from the discovery that Clinton had only used a private server. Yesterday, Clinton was asked to explain that discrepancy to the Des Moines Register.
Answer that. All I know is that they sent the same letter to everybody. That's my understanding.
So the Post is reporting now that there was some question about whether the server was permitted and whether this caught the State Department off guard.
You're telling me something I don't know. All I know is what I have said, and what I have said is it was allowed. The State Department has confirmed that. The same letter went to, as far as I know, my predecessors, and I'm the one who said, "Hey, I'll be glad to help." I mean, but we'll give you additional, information as we get it.
And here is Clinton back in her news conference at the United Nations in March.
After I left office, the State Department asked former secretaries of state for our assistance in providing copies of work-related emails from our personal accounts. I responded right away and provided all my emails that could possibly be work-related, which totaled roughly 55,000 printed pages, even though I knew that the State Department already had the vast majority of them.
Willie, this is a real web. It just keeps piling up. They want the story to go on. There are things that Hillary Clinton has said in the past, not true at that UN press conference. Yesterday, the State Department finally felt like they had to distance themselves from Hillary on one of those untruths, which was this was just general record keeping. It wasn't. It was, John Kirby said it was all about Hillary Clinton. And then after that, they decided, well, we'll ask the other secretaries as well. She also said something in the answer to the Des Moines Register that we know from talking to all of our sources in the State Department also is not true, that the State Department allowed it. State Department didn't allow it. She just decided she was going to do it.
And then you put on top of that the news that
and by the way, that's going to come out too. So my question is, even when she's answering the question about a previous untruth, she adds a layer of another untruth that the State Department is going to come out later and prove to be untrue as well.
But has the State Department said they didn't allow it public? I know you said there's sources that you have that
they're going to. Right.
So in other words, but the public record does not dispute what she said. I hear
the public record disputes what she said yesterday, which the Des Moines Register brought out. And what I am saying is, just as we knew the State Department would come out with that statement because it was the truth, we know the State Department, when it comes out, will also come out with the fact that it was not allowed by anybody, that she just brought this system to the State Department. And that is from wide and varied sources. I'm simply saying she should have just avoided that when answering the question.
Well, technically, she may not be lying here. Technically, she allowed it. When she says it was allowed, maybe what she means is I allowed it.
I allowed it, yeah. Well, but anyway.
But all these things make you wonder why from the beginning, when you knew all this was coming down the road, why not just come out and
tell the truth,
say what happened, get through it, and now it becomes the story that goes on and on, because you've got the FBI, according to this new Bloomberg story, says it can access the server. It can find the emails. So there were 60,000 emails, 30,000 the Hillary Clinton campaign and her people decided should be handed in. 30 were deleted or wiped, whichever the story is. Now the FBI says we can find the 30 that were deleted. So now they can go in and determine whether or not those were work-related, whether or not any of those could have been classified, whether or not they're pertinent to the Benghazi investigation. So now you have this second wave, and the FBI says it's going to take, quote, months and months.
Why are they doing this?
Go in February 1st as the Iowa caucuses. You're still going to be talking about
Right. Who would have blamed Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party, Harold, if during the UN press conference she had just said, listen, we had a server. I set up a server. You know why? Because since 1978, Republicans have savaged my family and me. They've savaged my husband and me.
Well, this would have worked.
They've savaged us. They've savaged us for political gain. They've savaged us for profit. They've savaged us because they personally hate us.
They've hurt our family.
They have hurt our family. They have hurt our daughter. They have hurt our marriage.
There you go.
They have been on a witch hunt since 1978. Was I a little too protective? Yeah, maybe I was, but I make no apologies given the Republicans' record since 1978. I am sorry and I apologize.
I would have done something very similar to that.
It would have been over.
Barnacle and Willie have said it this morning that the content of the emails are almost irrelevant now. It looks as if just the way she's handled putting this out and responding to this. So, Joe, I don't think there's any doubt something right along those lines probably would have put this to rest much, much earlier. Instead, you're going to go into January, February, March, perhaps, with the emails may say nothing, but the act itself is what may get the attention, to Willie's eloquent point.
You know, Mike,
I love that explanation.
You're a journalist, obviously. You've written a lot, and you know how we read articles, and sometimes it's what the article hints at. I saw something yesterday in an article. I think it was a Washington Post article. I'm not exactly sure where, but in all of these Clinton articles, where they talk about how the FBI will not explain why they're reconstructing the server. And it goes to, again, what we're hearing across all agencies, top people in the Obama administration saying, this is not just a run-of-the-mill FBI investigation. It's much deeper and much more serious. This is the Obama administration, not Republicans.
I understand.
Top leaders in the Obama administration across multiple agencies saying this is much more serious than the public knows.
Well, I think I am with the vast majority of the American public in that I am lost now in a maze of emailed stories. I don't know.
Well, that's what the Clintons want.
Well, they're not going to get that. I mean, there's only been a certain...
They want you to be confused, bored, distracted, and say, oh, let's just move on before the FBI and everybody else gets to the truth. That's what they want.
Okay, if that's what they want, that's not what they're getting, because I think I'm like a lot of people, lost in the maze of emails, distracted to a certain extent by how many of the emails have been released. I don't know what percentage of emails have been released,
right.
But I am now focused on the perception that she has fed that has led to the frailty of her campaign as to why haven't they just dumped out all the emails. Here they all are, go through them Friday night, 60,000, 80,000, I don't know how many emails. Here they are. Why did they not do that? Her campaign is run by very competent people. She's a very competent person herself. Yep. And it leads to the impression of why didn't they do this? If they are so competent, which they are in many other aspects of their lives, politically as well as personally, why didn't they just dump all these emails out?
The thing,
what are they hiding? That's what people ask.
And in fairness on the FBI piece, understand, I think part of that investigation, I don't have any knowledge from the campaign or from the Justice Department, obviously, but I think part of it, just reading the stories, is to determine whether or not this server was hacked, which would have not been, she did not intentionally do that. You've had government systems hacked as well, so I think it's important to lay that out. She's not the target of this. I think they're reconstructing the server for a variety of reasons that may have nothing to do with any criminality on her part.